Reminiscence is the brand new HBO Max movie, and it's simultaneously in theaters release. The film stars Hugh Jackman, Rebecca Ferguson, Tandy Newton, Cliff Curtis, and Daniel Wu, and tell a story about Hugh Jackman's character, Nick, who created this whole machine where it can basically see, you can go back in time and see your own memories while also being recorded at the same time. Him and Tandy Newton run this place. He then falls in love with Rebecca Ferguson's character, Sue. And then out of nowhere, I think 3 months into the relationship, Sue out of nowhere vanishes. She disappears. Hugh Jackman doesn't know where she went. And the whole challenge is she tied up into some loose threads with some criminal, or is she doing something else? The film is an hour and 55 minutes and is PG-13. Welcome back, guys, to a brand new movie review. Finally talking movies here. Finally back here on Max Talks Movies. We're talking about Reminiscence. I know this movie came out last weekend, but because I had to move across the country, I did not get a chance to see this last week. So I did watch it on HBO Max last night. Can't wait to talk about it with you guys right now. So before we start this video, please subscribe. And if you're new to the channel, and ring the bell for notifications. I do movie reviews, TV show reviews, movie rankings, and a box office breakdown show. At the end of my review, I will let you know what videos will be upcoming on the channel. Also, please comment down below your thoughts on Reminiscence. First of all, if you've seen the movie already in non-spoiler fashion, did you see this in theater or on HBO Max? Do you like it? Not like it? It's a pretty divisive film with critics. If you haven't, tell me, are you going to still check this one out on HBO Max in the next couple of weeks or not? And also like the video, guys. That's the best way to support this channel. Let's talk about Reminiscence. So I was actually one of the few people, it seemed like, was generally very excited for this movie. I really did love the trailer. And I know it didn't get a lot of promotion on the cable, but when I was on YouTube a lot, it was always coming up as an advertisement. So I was kind of hoping this would do well. And then I heard a lot of the critics, it's at like a 30% or something in the 30 range on Rotten Tomatoes. And then it did barely, I think it just went under $2 million for an opening weekend. It did really bad at the box office. But it didn't deter me from wanting to see this movie. I still really wanted to see this movie for multiple reasons. First of all, I am a pretty big Rebecca Ferguson fan. She's in my top 5 actors working today. I'll see her in basically anything. I can't wait that she's in Dune. She's become my favorite part of the Mission Impossible franchise. And I love Rebecca Ferguson. I'll see her in anything. Obviously, Hugh Jackman is always really good. And it's nice seeing him do other stuff than not just Wolverine the past couple of years. Tandy Newton's obviously very solid. Now, this also comes from the creator, the co-creator, Lisa Joy of Westworld. Lisa Joy is a executive producer with her husband, Jonathan Nolan, who's Christopher Nolan's brother. They created Westworld. And this is Lisa Joy's directorial movie debut and going various sci-fi noir films. So let's talk about my thoughts. So the best part about this movie is really the setup of the movie and the actual vibe of what the movie is going for. The actual sci-fi noir, the world that we're in this movie is really interesting. And it keeps you going throughout the entire film. You want to learn about why is Miami flooding, I have all this water and it's just normal life, and why are people just waiting to die like this? And the actual sci-fi noir, again, of the movie is actually really, really well done. And it's something you really don't see many times. And the actual machine of this memory machine, basically, where you are in your memory, and while you can physically be a part of that old memory, also Hugh Jackman and Tandy Newton can record those, sew them away. And that could be also used in criminal investigations. They work with the DA once in a while. It's a really cool setup for an actual original movie. And the idea of going through these memories physically, but the idea of the government wanting to use this type of stuff, it kind of felt like this type of technology is not too far away, which I guess is pretty scary when you think about it, how everyone talks about privacy and what is privacy these days with technology. And the fact that if you're going back into your own memories, which seems like a pretty private moment, could be used in the DA or government, whatever it is. And it's a really unique thing. And it really kept me interested throughout the entire movie. The chemistry from Hugh Jackman and Rebecca Ferguson is as good as I thought it would be. I know a lot of people are saying it's not. I'll get to why there's some issues with the relationship, but the actors themselves are doing clearly the best jobs they can do. Hugh Jackman is really good in this movie. He plays a person he's pretty angry for most of this movie. He's kind of in this world where he's in the tank doing these trials too many times to figure out where she is. He's very driven to find out who she is really and what she's been up to since disappearing from their relationship. And Rebecca Ferguson, of course, as I just said, I'm a mega Rebecca Ferguson fan. She's great in the movie. I wish she had more to do, though. Even though she's the character that you need, that you are kind of wondering the entire movie, is she a good guy? Can we trust this person? Or is she a bad guy doing things behind his back? Most of her scenes are very much exposition heavy scenes. But there is a scene in I think the last 15 minutes of the movie, which is easily the best part of the entire movie, this really great scene between Jackman and Ferguson that almost really did save a lot of the story. This one scene was really fantastic. And I know a lot of people are talking about that scene being very good. It is clearly the best part of the entire movie. Tandy Newton is, again, another Westworld alum. She's really good in this movie as well. She works for Hugh Jackman, and they both have a military background. She is a real badass in the first half of the movie. The problem with her character is that her character completely disappears in the second half of the movie. I think she has one or two scenes in the last 50 minutes of the movie, which was a bit of a disappointment because she was so heavy. She was really into the action, had a lot of good stuff going for her. And then they kind of put her on the sidelines for the second half of this movie, which is a bit of a disappointment. But again, the actual world, the score is really good. The original song that you've heard of the trailer, it came out before the movie came out. You Can Stay at the Credits. That's also a very good original song. So the music for this movie entirely is good. The movie also looks really beautiful. It's an extremely well-made movie with really great actors in it. And I just want to talk about my negatives as we're going right now. The story for me and the slow pace of this movie really drags this movie down because yes, I know a lot of people's main criticisms is that you've seen this type of sci-fi noir movie a billion times. And this movie did have the potential just to be a very original sci-fi noir detective film, but it obviously finds like Chinatown and Blade Runner as kind of inspirations for the movie. That is not where my criticisms really go of the movie, but there's a lot of convenience and they're basically telling you things that you should just go with and turn your brain off for some of the common sense things in this movie. My main issue with the story is that you just don't understand why Hugh Jackman is this driven, this passionate to find Rebecca Ferguson's character in this movie, because they even state that they've only been together for 3 months and you maybe get 2 scenes of them in present day in a relationship before you shoot to she's gone and Hugh Jackman needs to go after her. It just felt too rushed, and the movie is 2 hours long. I think they should have spent way more time building this relationship, because Ferguson does not get on screen until the 15-minute mark of the movie. So there's a lot of exposition in this movie, and there definitely has to be with this type of film, but Rebecca Ferguson's character needed to be on screen a lot more in the present day, because I would say 90% of her scenes are either memories or flashbacks, again, to back when she was in a relationship with Hugh Jackman. I wanted to see her character in the present more, and they just don't give you enough time with Jackman and Ferguson as a couple to all of a sudden caring about their relationship for the rest of the movie. Now, they do kind of, at the end of the movie, have a really nice tie-up or a really great scene, as I said, between the two characters at the end of the movie. But until that point, I wasn't really on board with Hugh Jackman doing these many different things, caring this much, really putting his whole life on hold to do this. It just at times felt ridiculous. The actual villains too of the movie, Cliff Curtis's character, Daniel Wu's character, very stereotypical people that you'll see in these type of movies in this genre. They're not that special. Daniel Wu's character especially was very underwhelming. And that's kind of one of my main issues with the movie as well. As I said, the movie is obviously, all movies need exposition, but this movie did a lot of exposition and a lot of voiceover from Hugh Jackman. It kind of felt like it was based off a book, even though it wasn't. So there was so much narration from Hugh Jackman. It was at times very unnecessary and would spoil a setup to the next scene. And then there's so much exposition where, oh, we need to figure this out. Let's go back to a memory where a character is just going to explain to us everything that's happening. It just at times felt too ridiculous. And the second act of this movie is absolutely boring. A lot of this movie is just boring to me. And that's because I just didn't care about the story. The actual world, the way the movie was shot and the actors, it's a very watchable movie. I'm not going to be here to tell you this is the worst movie of the year, because it's definitely not. You can go a lot worse, especially in the sci-fi genre, a lot worse than Reminiscence. It'll just be one of the more forgettable movies you'll see all year. So I'm going to give Reminiscence, guys, a 2.5 out of 5. I'm going to split down the middle at 50%. That scene really made this film average to me. I was thinking of putting it on the Rotten. If I did a Rotten Tomatoes, this would be not fresh normally, but I did move it up to average because I really respect what they put into the movie. It was just the execution of the storytelling, not a huge fan of. So that's my thoughts on Reminiscence. As I said, in my upcoming videos, I will have a review of Candyman this weekend, review of the new Hulu movie, possibly a Netflix movie review this weekend, and the box office breakdown show coming on Monday. And that transitions into What If on Wednesday. So more reviews coming down the line. I'll see you guys soon. Like the video, subscribe, ring the bell. See you guys soon.